if the US military was its own country, it would be the 47th biggest greenhouse gas emitter on Earth. We fund this military for national defense to keep us safe, or at least that's what it's marketed as. So it's ironic that this organization is also harming the planet, and we keep investing more and more every year. What's up, everybody? My name is Christian, and I'm out here in Arvada, Colorado, asking people what they think about the military and climate change. Are they connected? Can you support a large military and protect the environment? We'll know by the end of today. There's been a lot of news stories lately about an invasion in Ukraine and the US sending military equipment there.
Right.
So do you feel that we are able to tackle climate change and be advocates of a large military at the same time?
I don't think we need to be a huge military. We're far too big of a military.
I believe that there are different issues. So yes, I believe you can believe in both.
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say like the military industrial complex plus climate change is like they're magnets facing the opposite way. It doesn't make any sense.
So you feel like they're disconnected issues?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Like, on one hand, you're saying you are gonna protect the planet. On the other hand, you're destroying the planet.
Oh, the fuck! Wait, what do you mean? Those are two. I don't see how they're tied in.
It's a good question. I think it's one I hadn't thought about before, so I'm not sure I have an opinion right now about that.
You mean at the same time? We already have a large military. So I don't know that we would have to have more resources, just divert what we have over there.
I don't believe so, because I feel like those views are kind of opposite of each other. Promoting large military and the type of impacts that those have on the economy, or no, not the economy, but the environment are just things that oppose each other.
I think there has to be a balance. I think that it's necessary to have some military sustainability and be willing to supply help and assistance, but I think that the way they do that, they still have to be environmentally conscious, and that is where I feel like we fall out a little bit, and we need to be more aware. So yes, I do think that there could be a balance, but I feel like as of now, we're putting way more emphasis on the military and not enough emphasis on climate.
And I only bring this up because a couple of years ago, there was a study published mentioning how if the US military was its own country, it would be the 47th biggest greenhouse gas emitter on Earth. So just our military itself is producing more emissions than 3/4 of all countries on Earth. And it seems like this part of the discussion is often missing when it comes to justified wars or what it would take to defend democracy. So do you feel like it's a decent trade-off given the circumstances?
I don't think it's necessary, because I don't think we need more. I think we perpetuate the military machine and keep building more and more, just I think to make more jobs and more money in this country. So I doubt very much that we need more to go help them now.
It's just very complicated.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you think of all the naval ships that are going around the world from our Navy, they're all getting refueled every week and a half.
Right.
And just tankers of fuel all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that study I mentioned is literally just referring to fuel consumption, which is even crazier to think about when you think about all the bases.
Yeah.
Do you feel like investing more in the military is contradictory to our goals to protect the country from climate change?
100%. I feel like in order to continue forward in this rate, there has to be some drastic changes going into how we implement military aid. The technology that we use with the military has to be more environmentally friendly, and I don't think there's enough research behind that as of date. And if we keep this up, then, climate change, there's already irreversible damage. And so no, I don't feel like continuing to invest in the military is a great idea. I feel like we need a huge shift in our mindset. So yeah.
We have so many military bases all around the world, and it's fucking disgusting in my opinion. And if we just cut that shit down. Like, why are we trying to police the whole world? It's disgusting.
Yeah, we are far too huge of a military. I don't think it can be justified at all. And it's also really sad that there have been instances where the military itself said that they didn't need certain weapons, and our people in Congress nonetheless continued producing those weapons because they have, jobs in their districts dependent on that weapons production. So, we're in a really bad situation in so many ways. But, we need to cut back on our military big time.
Every time we deploy more military equipment or invest more, which we do every year in the United States, that means that we are actually contradicting our mission toward adapting to climate change.
Oh, so when you're talking about the contributions with the military, you're talking about the also contributions of carbon emissions as well? Understandable.
Definitely contradictory, but everything's not black and white, sadly.
Very true, very true. Especially just that link between how we're trying to keep ourselves safe and what that trade-off is. Because there's so much documentation at this point.
There's a possibility. I know the military has a lot of vehicles, a lot of buildings, a lot of structures that could be retrofitted. So, for example, you could use electric vehicles for that. You could retrofit some of the buildings with more energy-saving devices and technology that's out there. So I would suspect if you were to do that, you would have a significant impact on greenhouse effect.
I remember with the Obama administration, their Secretary of Defense mentioned that climate change was one of the most pressing issues toward our national security. Yeah. And here we are today investing more and more. So, Joe Biden was marketed as the climate change candidate. Knowing all this information, do you feel like he actually believes in climate change, or is this just a gray area?
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he does believe in climate change. It's just a very, very complicated world.
I think he believes in it, but he gets boxed in by the politics in our country.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Joe Biden is sticking to his promises about being the climate change candidate, considering every year we've been raising our military budget and he's deploying more equipment to Ukraine right now?
I would say no, based on those facts. I mean, with all the equipment that's been, assigned over to Ukraine and in their support, all the physical assets, that makes a big impact and a change into kind of the opposite of what he promoted originally, considering the environment.
I think it's very contradictory towards it. I don't think that he's really even thinking about that right now. I think he's just thinking about providing assistance to Ukraine, which I do support, but I also feel like he needs to be more protective of his platforms that he was initially running with. And so just pushing climate change to the side is not the way to go.
I will say I'm currently a new voter, so I'm not too big into politics at this moment. However, I think you can have different values with these kinds of issues and still believe in climate change. Like with the way that we currently are in our system, we require a lot of things like plastic and carbon emissions. And even though we're growing towards better technology, like with solar and geothermal, we're still kind of in this area where it's more affordable to use non-renewable resources, which is why we are currently not really caring about sustainability and why we also include these kinds of technologies within our military equipment.
Well, if everything was peaceful with the world, yeah, I'm pretty sure he would be making good on his word. But I mean, if the whole situation in Russia and Ukraine is definitely playing into that for sure. But if these were peace times and everyone was behaving and the U.S. wasn't too busy being the police force as it usually is, I'm pretty sure he would be actually going for climate change. And I don't even really like him, but I'm sure he would.
I think he probably does, but I'm not sure that the situation as it is allows him to do what he would really like to do.
Yeah, because I'd imagine in the coming weeks, we're going to see a lot of articles about the need to invest more in our military or deploy it to protect democracy. And it's like, will preventing climate change help democracy more, or will sending out more military equipment help more, is the real question, I guess.
Yeah, and I think, no matter what the topic is, whatever you're doing, you have to do it in a smart way. And we have so many conflicting interests that things are just not done very smartly. And having climate change not necessarily at the centerpiece, but certainly as part of the discussion, is absolutely necessary.
All right, so that was Arvada, Colorado, asking everyone what they think about how the military impacts climate change. So if you thought this video was interesting, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.
Let's be America. Let's be free.
Do you?
Yeah, let's be free and let's not start bugging people. It's annoying.